Welcome to the Hampshire town of Bishop's Waltham. This area sits on the southern edge of the South Downs at the junction of clay and chalk. Where the chalk meets the clay, water is forced upwards to the surface in a number of springs that gather to form one of the sources of the River Hamble. The River Hamble in Hampshire is less than 6.5 miles or 10 kilometres long, and is tidal for about half its length. It flows through the lovely Hamble Valley, a largely unspoilt landscape and a hidden secret rarely visited by the thousands of travellers heading towards the south coast, Portsmouth, or the national parks of the New Forest and the South Downs. Near the town is an area named the Moors, which is a site of special scientific interest. It has areas known as the sandboils, where the gin-clear water can be seen bubbling up from underground. On winter days, steam appears to rise as the water is always at a constant temperature and flow. The Moors is a fenland with a varied mix of plants, flowers, butterflies and insects, including many rare species. With other springs here, a flow of some 300 litres of water per second have been recorded that is held back in the mill pond that feeds Chase Mill on the B2177 road. Chase Mill is recorded in the Domesday Book of 1086, and the current Victorian mill, with its 14-foot diameter mill wheel, was featured in the TV programme Salvage Squad in 2003 with Suggs. The Young River flows south from here and is joined by a multitude of other tributaries, streams and brooks, as well as rainwater runoff from fields and roads. It soon reaches Durley Mill, which is now a private residence. This was originally a grist mill with a breast-shot water wheel dating from the early 19th century, built on site of previous mills, likely dating from the 8th century. The term grist mill refers to the milling process that could grind coarse meal or feed for animals, as well as fine flour. Less than half a mile downstream is the remains of the Frog Mill, which was a paper mill. It originally dates from the 12th century, but now is in ruins. It likely got its name as mills were generally referred to after their owners, Frog being the name of the owners of Durley Mill, going back into the 12th century. The river continues between the villages of Curdridge and Botley Green, gaining in size due to being joined by various other sources of water along the way. At the market town of Botley, the largest mill on the River Hamble can be found on the A334, which is the main road running through the town. Mentioned in the Domesday Book of 1086, the impressive current building was built around 1770 and has been extensively modified over the years. It is just before this mill that the river becomes tidal and changes character considerably. I have a separate video detailing Botley Mill and the Heritage Centre there, so please view that one afterwards. A link is provided at the end of this video. A short way downstream from the mill there is a quay or hard that was likely used since the medieval period and was an important port, being the furthest navigable place upstream from the sea. Timber, coal, stone and grain was handled there. The brick building here is the bark store. The building was used to produce wooden hoops required in the manufacture of ships' masts and barrels in the 18th and 19th centuries. Being tidal, larger vessels would only be able to use the quay at certain times. Today it is a grassed recreational area with a slipway into the river. The River Hamble widens considerably as it flows around Manor Farm Country Park, which is a lovely location and a great place to visit. Manor Farm featured in the 2012 BBC historical documentary series Wartime Farm. The woodlands in the country park was the site of HMS Cricket, a World War II training camp that was heavily involved in preparations for the 1944 D-Day landings. In the river, a yellow hazard marker shows the spot where the protected wreck of the Grace Dieu lies. This was Henry V's flagship, built in 1418. The ship was one of the largest wooden ships at the time, at 218 feet in length. As we arrive at the M27 motorway bridge, the first of the boatyards appear. Motor yachts only here due to the height restriction of the bridges. The next bridge carries the Southampton to Portsmouth Railway, and the next the A27 road, being the last of the bridges. As there are no more height restrictions on the river, this area of the village of Lower Swanwick is famous for yachting and leisure boating with a number of marinas. There are many chandlers and boatyards here, including the Elephant Boatyard, famed for starring in the 1980 TV series Howard's Way. Across the river on the Bursledon side is the lovely pub Jolly Sailor, which also featured in the same series. The riverside path from Swanwick is a pleasant walk which skirts the Hook with Warsash Nature Reserve. Before we get to the village of Warsash, a short passenger river crossing can be taken on the Pink Ferry to the village of Hamble the Rice. So let's cross over to the other side of the river. The ancient village of Hamble, which gives its name to the river, is home to the Royal Yachting Association and a number of marinas offering marine services, and is also well known for its aviation history. Back on the east side of the river now, and as we enter the village of Warsash, we see the distinctive black and white building of the Harbour Master's office. The area here was very involved in the 1944 Normandy D-Day crossings, and a memorial to that event and a plaque on the wall of the Rising Sun pub gives detailed information. The path continues past the Warsash Maritime Academy. At the end of a long pier is the facility for the academy to train in using the emergency ship free fall launch of lifeboats. On the far bank of the river is Hamble Point, where the river effectively ends. We are now at the very mouth of the River Hamble, where it flows into Southampton Water and then onto the Solent. On the western side of Southampton Water is the massive Botley Refinery, which is the largest oil refinery in the United Kingdom and can handle the largest oil tankers. So In just 6.5 miles, the River Hamble has gone from a trickle of water bubbling up out of the ground to a body of water capable of supporting ocean liners and tankers. I really hope you have enjoyed this journey and consider exploring the lovely River Hamble area for yourself. I do appreciate you watching my video and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.